will I survive the 2018 Benadryl crisis?
Nice job.
Poor Teddy. Getting his jewels cut off. Poor Mr. Teddy's going to get fixed. How do you feel about that, dude?
He don't know.
That's how he feels about it. He just looks away. He was supposed to get fixed a few weeks ago, and my mom brought him to the vet, and then as soon as she got home, she realized that the whole bowl of cat food was gone. And she knows that since it was licked clean and it was full earlier that morning, and she knows Teddy ate it, and they have to be NPO for a number of hours before they go into surgery, or else they can aspirate and all that good stuff. So she had to go back to the vet to pick him up because he couldn't be behaved. He snuck in the bathroom while she wasn't looking. And then this morning he just keeps begging for food, but he doesn't understand that he can't have anything because he's got to go get his jewels cut off. And Sylvina's not being much of a morning person.
What do you mean? I'm just not saying anything so you can explain your whole situation.
We are here.
Don't worry, buddy. You were never going to use them anyways.
Teddy, do you have anything to say for the people? How sad you are?
I don't think he wants to say how sad he is that he's hungry. Come on.
Here's his blanket. You gotta leave it with him.
Oh. How am I supposed to... Treating you like a Beverly Hills Billy.
A Beverly Hillbilly? What is it?
Just carry him around with his little hobo blanket.
Bye-bye. The funny thing is that we have underwear for him for when he's done, so he doesn't have to wear the cone of shame. Okay,
He hasn't barked once he's whimpered.
little Teddy's back.
He is, and you know how usually teachers or stuff like that will try to tell you your kid's bad, but they'll sugarcoat it?
Mm-hmm.
There is no sugarcoating this. Thank God you're here. He has not shut up since he was dropped off. And they thought that during surgery they gave him the pain medicine. They thought that would shut him up.
No.
It didn't. He has not shut up. She was just totally frazzled by dealing with him. But it really smells. So if someone can give me some baby shampoo. You chill. I gotta do your head.
Here, I took the one that was hanging out.
It's hard to believe he was that bad. He's
Yeah.
perfect angel right now.
I know. He hasn't done one thing. First I thought she was talking about their own. She said, no, Teddy Graham? I'm like, yeah.
He's legit going to sleep. Oh. He wasted all his energy barking. Don't we have his diapers?
Hey, buddy, I'm going to need you to stand up. Can you stand up right here? And let me just wash your head. Goodness. Can you get a little more over this way?
My Hickman that has been in 2 years. It's almost been 2 years. It's like today, I think.
I think it was September 8th. What's
I think
today?
today's either
7th
7th.
or the 8th.
Yeah, today's either 7th. It's never given me any problems. It always flushes like butter. Has decided that it's not going to work today. And we don't know what's wrong with it. The clave got stuck on it yesterday when we tried to change that, but I did all my meds after that fine until this morning I went to do Pepsid. And then the Pepsid pump just started alarming. And I thought it was just a pump problem, but we connected it to a different pump for a different med, and then it was doing the same thing. But we just flushed it again, and it seems to flush fine. And I'm getting blood return. This is the test. Right now, someone is doing a documentary on mast cell activation syndrome. So I've been filming, trying to send in my piece. And yesterday I spent hours filming. It's like the world was just against me yesterday. I edited the whole thing and realized that my camera cut the end of it off, so I had to go refilm. But when I tried to go refilm, then the cats are crying multiple times. Then my parents come in screaming and he's whistling because I got the dog, and then my camera died. And I literally cried like a baby, I'm not gonna lie, out of frustration. But today I just had a reaction but I'm getting this done if it kills me. So I'll post a little bit of what I got from yesterday, so today's a little different. My name is Cheyenne. Although I am 21 now, I was diagnosed with mast cell activation syndrome when I was 13 years old. I remember my first reaction like it was yesterday. I had a flushed rash from head to toe, evidence of the fire I swore had replaced each of my organs. There was intense nausea, I was dry heaving. Flashing lights clouded my vision. Full body tremors took over my limbs. Swelling, my pulse was racing. The nurses were scrambling. I recall thinking, why is this happening to me? Right as a wave of dizziness crashed over my senses. Once my pulse exceeded 200 beats per minute, they called a rapid response. Each reaction grew worse and triggered more easily than the one before it, until I was reacting to literally everything. So I think I finally finished filming. I feel like I'm about to go into another reaction. Right after I had my line clotted problem, I started going into a reaction from alcohol. I think a little bit of the alcohol we used to clean the clave, because I had to replace my clave to see if that would help my issue. Got into Teddy's doing better today. He decided to eat a battery, so we don't know if we'll have to take him to the emergency vet. We're going to try to see if it's in his stool. And I never got to finish what I was saying yesterday because I started really not feeling good, but my alcohol reactions, when a little bit gets into me from when I'm doing my line and I don't let it dry, always start in the same exact way. It begins with this very intense ache, starting from behind my ear down my lymph node area, and then it progresses from there to my whole body feeling like it's heating up and tachycardia. Next vlog should be a little more eventful now that my laptop is back to me and I have to get my camera to work again because that was having some problems. Another reason why I haven't been vlogging is because I've kind of been depressed. One thing that's been really scary this week is that there's a Benadryl shortage. Beginning in 2017, the brand of Benadryl called Hospira stopped its production temporarily, and it was not supposed to be back until later in 2018. So it's almost stopped its production for almost a full year. The majority of mast cell activation patients tolerate Hospira best, as that is the brand with least amount of excipients. I've never tolerated Hospira. I go into an instant locked-in type of reaction immediately. I didn't even know when I was trialing that one. Back in 2016, I was inpatient at the hospital at the time, and the pharmacist wanted to change brands, but she didn't tell me. So when it was connected to me instantly within minutes, I started flushing, coughing, I couldn't breathe well. I went into a locked in, I couldn't respond to anybody, and I was tremoring, and it was just bad. So we assumed that my issue with Hospira was not necessarily the Benadryl, but that I don't tolerate the plastic syringe. I can't remember what it's called. I don't know, but it comes in a different syringe rather than a vial like the other brands. The brand I've always done best with is APP. Westward sends me into a seizure-like reaction. Earlier this month, Westward went out. I guess because everyone who had been using Hospira had to go to Westward during this interim where Hospira isn't manufacturing. So after Westward's been out, then everyone's resorting to APP, and the company that had bought APP out in 2016 is called Fresenius Kabe, and Fresenius has two different kinds of Benadryl. They have the kind of similar to Hospira that comes in a weird syringe, and then they have the kind that comes in a vial, and then there's still APP around circulating. The one that's in the vial doesn't have APP. I got word that they can't get my only safe Benadryl. There's going to be a couple weeks. I have like a week's worth left of my supply of APP, and after that they don't have anything for me. And there's no Hospira, there's no Westward, even though I go into an immediate reaction, I couldn't use those anyway. And there's only Fresenius left. I know that a lot of people who have sensitive, severely afflicted MCAS patients like myself said that when they switched from APP to Fresenius, even though the company says it's the same thing, there are differences in pH balance. The company gave them the report, but supposedly they're the same thing, supposed to be. But to sensitive people, it's not. Well, they have that, and they gave it to me once to trial this week, and it wasn't a complete disaster like the others sent me into immediate reaction. It's just not. I can tell there is a slight difference. My pains increase when I'm on it. I have neuropathy stemming from my mast cell disease, and when I'm very reactive, it flares up. And so that was there. I just have worse burning and everything. My ears were hurting off and on throughout the day. The bone pain was worse. So, I mean, it's doable because it's not an immediate, severe emergency type of reaction. It's just not comfortable. And so once the supply runs out, they don't know if they're going to be able to get the APP anymore. I'm in a predicament and don't know what to do, and it's very inconvenient because I'm already in my formula crisis, as you all know, where my only safe formula has been discontinued and I've been trying to trial more. But how can I trial more when now we've got a Benadryl crisis and I'm on the CDI? With the CDI, I use less Benadryl, but it is going into me constantly. So when you have a trigger going into you constantly, that's not good. But yet, when I do bolus doses and I stop the CDI, that doesn't work for me either. I start going into anaphylaxis every 2 hours. And right now, I have long QT, so I'm not allowed to do larger doses. Yeah, that's scary, not to have access to what I need. My home health company usually takes amazing care of me, and I love them to death. So I'm praying they'll be able to figure this predicament out. I'm not understanding why, if there are people, consumers willing to buy the Benadryl, why all these companies can't just manufacture more. If it's going to be used, I don't understand. I'm thankful that Fresenius wasn't as bad as it could be, but it's not ideal. All of my fellow MCAS patients around this area, there's not that many, but we all tolerate different brands. One tolerates Hospira, but was switched to the Fresenius, the ones in the weird syringes, and she's doing fine with that one. But she doesn't tolerate ABP, and so she doesn't do good with the Fresenius in the vial. My other friend normally does Westward, and well, my other friend did Hospira too. She kind of rotated between that one and Westward. But then once Hospira went out, she was just doing Westward. And now she's having to do APP. And so she's not doing very well, but that's all her home company could get at that moment, but that's about to run out too. So then she's going to have to do Fresenius, which she does even worse with. There's even word that Fresenius isn't manufacturing right now either. They've completely stopped until November. So it's like Fresenius is the only one left, and that is what all the hospitals and all the patients are having to get. So that's going to run out too. And it's just a matter of if my home health company has enough supply of that even to hold me over. Will I survive the 2018 Benadryl crisis? There was a shortage, like I said, of the APP back in 2016. I actually was left in the hospital for longer because of it. The home health company could not get compassionate use. So only the hospital could get the compassionate use, so I had to stay in the hospital until they began production again. But it was when APP was getting bought out by Fresenius. But right now, like I said, like all the manufacturers, every single one of the manufacturers are running out, and well, every single manufacturer's ran out except for Fresenius, and none of them are doing compassionate use. What is my little ginger loaf doing?